My name is Paddy O'Shea. I come from a village in South Kilkenny called Owning. I have here a wooden mace head which I made. I made it to resemble the original stone mace head discovered at Knowth. Now this mace head has been described as one of the most remarkable pieces of megalithic carving in Western Europe. It is indeed an astonishing piece of craftsmanship, and all the more so when we're informed that it's made of flint. And flint is one of the hardest stones in existence. It has baffled many people as to how it was made, how this was achieved. Its function also has remained a mystery. Various theories have been put forward regarding its intended use. Some suggest it might be a ceremonial object. Others say it could be a weapon, hence the hole for a shaft. If it were a ceremonial object, one would expect that the shaft hole would be underneath to allow the object to be displayed upright. And if it were meant as a weapon, why was the shaft hole located at its narrowest and weakest point? Why would such an exquisite object, so painstakingly fashioned, be put at such risk? I say it wasn't either. I have studied the mace head in the context of where it was discovered, that is, at one of the megalithic mounds of the Boyne Valley, and I believe I have discovered its true function. Now we know that the sun's rays travel in parallel lines, and they will pass straight through a hollow object and transfer the shape of that hollow onto a background surface. When I place my replica mace head on a fixed surface and point its face, we'll call it a face, directly at the sun's rays will pass through the hole and appear as a sunspot on a background surface. When I have adjusted the mace head to achieve a perfectly round spot, I can mark its perimeter, or I can mark a centre point. The sunspot will soon begin to move from this position, always from left to right. Before midday, while moving left to right, our sunspot will also move downwards as the sun climbs, or apparently climbs higher in the sky. Immediately after midday, while continuing to move from left to right, our sunspot will begin to move upwards. At solar midday, when the sun has reached its highest point in the sky, the sunspot will reach its lowest point on the background surface, and we'll mark this spot. A vertical line passing through this spot will point north-south. It will also bisect the angle created between the points of sunrise, sunset, and the mace head. The sunspot created by the mace head will appear on or near that line at midday every day of the year, albeit at different heights. And it is this combination that can identify individual days. From winter solstice, December 21st, to summer solstice, June the 21st, as the sun rises higher, our sunspot will be progressively lower every day on our midday line, north-south line. The return journey will have the opposite effect on our sunspot. This time our sunspot will be higher each midday as the sun becomes lower. On two occasions, once in spring and once in autumn equinox days, the sun will rise directly in the east and travel directly west and set in the west. Our mace head would mark this as a straight line, thereby bisecting our north-south line at right angles. With this method and with a fixed background and datum point, the midday spot indicated by the mace head on days of special importance could be engraved permanently as a spot or perhaps a cup mark on a background stone. A stone slab maybe. A number of days leading up to a special day could have lesser markings as notification of its approach. Examples of special days would be solstice days, equinox days, cross-quarter days, ceremonial days, and so on. To further confirm these days, the Macehead may be used to mark very accurately the very first beam of sunrise and the last spot of sunset. This Macehead appears to focus, though not exclusively, on midday. The Macehead was the zenith of Neolithic sundialing. It operated as a sunspot, rather than a shadow. It will, if studied objectively, unlock the meaning of many of the symbols engraved on the stones, both internally and externally, at our megalithic mounds, which are a diary waiting to be deciphered and revealed of what Neolithic men observed in the heavens. Already, having had only a brief time to study how it functions, the Macehead has, for me, unlocked the enigma of the so-called cattle horns at Knowth, which are clearly a depiction of equinox, with the astounding possibility that this Macehead, the original stone Macehead, may have been used in their creation. Having deviated from the tombs-only narrative, skepticism for my discovery is sure to follow. What's new? I was once advised that my speculations were, and I quote, in the realms of archaeological science fiction, unquote. That was before I discovered and revealed the winter solstice solar alignment at Knockrow Passage Mound near Windgap, County Kilkenny. However, there is no ambiguity regarding the function of this Macehead. Its function could not be more explicit if it had come with the user's manual. It shouts out its function. As it faces the sun's straight rays are depicted on its head and chin. The trajectory of the sun from sunrise to sunset can clearly be seen, reaching its highest point, midday point, on the forehead, directly above a nose, which points directly to the mouth, which is recording and calling out the information. The calling out of information seems to have been a common practice in human communities, which continues to this day. Also, the ringing of bells at strategic times of the day and night. The person who used this object and understood the information it provided would have guarded its secret closely and would have been held in high esteem for his knowledge. He had in his possession the equivalent of a Neolithic pocket watch, thousands of years before clocks were invented. I hope that revealing its function will reaffirm what is believed by many people to be the primary function of the passage mounds, that is, to observe and record the passage of time, with a view to identifying the beginning of seasons, etc., so important for a settled community. It is only when these truths are accepted that real progress can be achieved in deciphering the messages engraved on the stones. Failure to do this is to discredit the amazing achievements of our Neolithic ancestors. Many countries have succeeded in deciphering their ancestors' enigmatic messages, recorded in stone. Are we to admit defeat in deciphering ours? That's it. That's my Macehead story so far. But I will continue with my experiments and perhaps produce further revelations. And I'll finish now with a short clip of my Macehead in action.